The machines kept me alive, but my children thought I was already gone. The doctors say he's brain dead, my son Michael told the lawyer. Just a body on life support. My daughter Emma agreed. We need to move forward with the estate. I lay there, trapped in my own body, hearing every word. The car accident had left me in a coma, unable to move or speak, but fully conscious. They gathered around my bed, dividing my fortune like vultures over carrion. Michael wanted the business. Emma claimed the houses. They even argued over my watch collection. But they didn't know that coma patients can sometimes hear everything. They didn't know I was recording it all in my mind. And they definitely didn't know I would wake up. Welcome to the channel where family betrayal meets ultimate justice. If you're ready for a story of greed, deception, and a father's revenge from beyond the grave, hit subscribe. Let me tell you how I played dead to discover my children's true nature. My name is Richard Brennan, 68 years old, founder and CEO of Brennan Industries. Built my company from nothing into a $500 million manufacturing empire. 3 children, Michael 42, Emma 39, and David 35. Their mother died 10 years ago from cancer. Since then, I'd been everything to them, or so I thought. I wasn't a perfect father. Work consumed my younger years. But after Martha's death, I tried to make amends. Brought my children into the business. Michael became COO. Emma ran international sales. David managed R&D. Good salaries, better bonuses. Each had trust funds, worth $10 million. I thought I'd secured their futures and earned their love. The relationship seemed good. Weekly family dinners. Grandchildren visited regularly. We vacationed together. My children appeared devoted, always concerned about my health, my happiness. Dad, you should slow down, Emma would say. Let us handle more. I was planning to retire at 70, hand over the company. 2 more years, but something felt off the last 6 months. Whispered conversations that stopped when I entered. Documents they'd ask me to sign without reading. Questions about my will, life insurance, offshore accounts. Just making sure everything's in order, Dad, Michael would assure me. I dismissed my concerns as paranoia. Big mistake. September 15th, 2024, driving home from a board meeting where I'd announced my succession plan. Michael would become CEO in 2 years. Emma and David would get expanded roles. The company would stay in the family. Everyone seemed thrilled. Champagne flowed. My legacy was secure. The truck came out of nowhere. Later, police said brake failure. T-boned me at 70 miles per hour. My Mercedes crumpled like paper. Airbags deployed, but couldn't prevent the head trauma. Last thing I remember was the sound of crushing metal and thinking about Martha. In darkness, I woke up unable to move. Couldn't open my eyes fully. Couldn't speak. But I could hear everything. Machines beeping, nurses talking, doctors discussing my case. Severe traumatic brain injury, coma, Glasgow Scale 3, the worst score, vegetative state, they assumed. But inside, I was screaming. My children arrived within hours. I expected tears, prayers, hope. Instead, I heard Michael on the phone. Yes, he's completely unresponsive. We need to discuss power of attorney immediately. Emma was Googling, how long before coma patients are declared dead? David asked the doctor about organ donation value. My body was still warm, and they were already dividing the spoils. Day 3 in ICU. My children had settled into a routine. They'd perform grief for the nurses, then huddle in the corner discussing my assets. I learned things no father should know. Michael had massive gambling debts, $3 million to dangerous people. Emma's husband was leaving her, unless she could buy him out for $5 million. David had been embezzling from the company, needed to cover tracks before an audit. They brought in estate lawyers while I lay there. The will leaves everything equally divided, the lawyer explained. But if he's declared incompetent, you can access assets immediately. That's when the real planning began. Forge my signature. Transfer properties. Liquidate investments. Empty accounts. All while I listened, memorizing every detail. Dr. Sarah Chung was my neurologist. She noticed something others missed. His EZ shows unusual activity, she told my children. There's a chance he's aware. Michael's response chilled me. We're not interested in false hope, doctor. We need realistic assessments for insurance purposes. They wanted me dead, not recovering. The worst was Emma, my daughter, my princess, the one I'd walked down the aisle 5 years ago. She held my hand tenderly when nurses were present, then dropped it like garbage when alone. 3 more weeks, she told her brothers. Then we can petition for removal of life support. I've already got a judge who'll sign off. They brought documents to my bedside, power of attorney, DNR orders, asset transfers. He would want us to handle things, Michael told the nurse while guiding my limp hand to sign. I wanted to scream as they forged my signature on paper after paper. 40 years of building an empire, destroyed in 40 minutes. The business discussions were ruthless. I'll take the main company, Michael declared. Emma gets the European subsidiaries. David can have the patents and R&D facilities. They'd calculated everything down to the last penny. Fair market value, $500 million. Their inheritance at my death, $167 million each. But if they could declare me incompetent first, they'd avoid estate taxes. My house in Aspen, the yacht, the art collection, all divided like items at a garage sale. Emma wanted the Monet. David claimed the Ferrari collection. Michael took the jet. They even assigned my golf club memberships. Dad won't be needing these anymore, David joked. They all laughed, my own children laughing at my vegetative body. Then came the shocking revelation. They'd been planning this before the accident. The truck brake failure was perfect timing, Emma said. We were going to have to wait for him to have a stroke or something. They'd been researching ways to incapacitate me. Poisons that mimic. Strokes. Medications that cause confusion. The accident saved them the trouble. Life insurance was their biggest prize. I had policies worth $50 million, split between them. But accidental death paid double. $100 million total. We need the police report to confirm accident, Michael told the others. I've got a friend in the department who can emphasize the brake failure. They were manipulating evidence while I lay helpless. They'd hired a second doctor, Dr. Marcus Webb, known for quick death declarations. He examined me briefly, then told my children what they wanted to hear. Brain death is evident. Maintaining. Life support is cruel. But Dr. Chun disagreed. She saw responses they ignored. Fought for more tests. My children threatened to have her removed from my case. The meeting with insurance executives happened in my room. They thought unconscious meant deaf. The executives asked hard questions. My children had practiced answers. He'd been depressed. Since Mom died, he took risks driving. We begged him to retire. All lies designed to ensure payout. The executives seemed suspicious, but had no proof of consciousness. David handled the forensics. I've reviewed the truck, he reported. Brake line was definitely cut, but it looks like wear, not sabotage. My blood ran cold. Had they arranged the accident? The driver was drunk, David continued. Hit 2 other cars after Dad. Perfect. Patsy. They'd either caused it or were capitalizing on coincidence. Either way, they were monsters. Week 2 established their visiting pattern. Monday mornings, Michael came alone. He'd check my vitals, looking for deterioration. "Hang in there, Dad," he'd say loudly for nurses. Then whisper, "But not too long. We've got bills to pay." He'd practice his eulogy, reading drafts to my unconscious form. Each version made him sound more devoted. Wednesdays were Emma's days. She brought lawyers, accountants, realtors, conducted business meetings around my bed, sold my vacation homes at below market prices for quick cash, transferred my stock portfolio, liquidated bonds. Dad always said to strike while the iron's hot, she'd joke. The iron being my still warm body. Fridays were family meetings. All three would gather to coordinate lies. They'd created a narrative where I'd been losing mental capacity for months. Forged medical records showing dementia. Paid a psychiatrist to backdate evaluations. If anyone challenges the will, we show Dad was incompetent before the accident, Michael explained. They'd thought of everything except they hadn't. They didn't know I'd installed cameras in my hospital room the week before the accident. Paranoid. About corporate espionage, I'd had security sweep for bugs and install counter-surveillance. The footage uploaded to a cloud server only I could access. Every confession, every forged document, every crime was recorded. Chapter 7. Dr. Chun's Discovery. Dr. Chun refused to give up. She ran test after test, noting anomalies others ignored. "Look at this," she told a colleague. "His brain shows response to specific stimuli. When his children speak, stress hormones spike." She was piecing together the truth. I was aware, and I was angry. She tried experimental communication methods. "Blink once for yes," she whispered when alone with me. I couldn't control my eyelids. But I tried. She noticed micro-movements. "Can you hear me?" Desperate internal screaming. Then, a twitch. My left pinky moved a millimeter. She saw it. "Oh my God, you're in there." But my children noticed her attention. "Dr. Chun is giving us problems," Emma reported. "She's ordering unnecessary tests, talking about recovery possibilities." Michael's solution was simple. "I know the hospital. Board chairman? She'll be reassigned by Monday." They had connections everywhere, greased by my money. That weekend, Dr. Chun worked frantically. She documented everything. Brain scans showing consciousness. Muscle responses to commands. Evidence. I was locked in, not brain dead. She prepared a report for the medical board. But Monday came, and she was gone. Transferred to another hospital. Replaced by Dr. Webb, who immediately recommended discontinuing life support. Chapter 8. The Final Preparations. Week 4. My children grew bolder. They held a mock funeral planning session in my room. "Cremation is cheapest," David suggested. "No burial," Emma argued. "We need a grave for public sympathy." They debated my final arrangements like a restaurant menu. Settled on cremation. Can't have an autopsy revealing Dad was aware. Michael noted they brought buyers to view my company. LED tours through my life's work while I lay dying. "As you can see, the transition will be seamless," Michael pitched. "Our father built a great foundation, but fresh leadership is needed." They badmouthed my management, promised changes, sold my legacy for parts. The buyers offered $400 million. Below value, but my children wanted quick cash. The house tours were worse. Emma walked strangers through my home via FaceTime. "This will be available next month," she promised. "Fully furnished. We can't bear to keep Dad's things." They were selling my memories, my life, my ghost. The couple loved the library. "Perfect for a nursery," they said. My books would be boxed and donated. October 10th, they filed the petition. Have Richard Brennan declared legally dead. Remove life support. They'd paid a judge to fast-track it. October 15th was set for the hearing and execution. 5 more days, Dad, Michael whispered after the lawyers left. Then you can rest. He actually patted my hand, the hand I was desperately trying to move. Chapter 9. The Awakening, October 13th. Something shifted. The fog lifted slightly. My fingers responded. Then my toes. Dr. Webb noticed during rounds, but said nothing. He'd been paid to see death, not recovery, but the nurses noticed. His vitals are strengthening, one mentioned. Webb dismissed it. Death throes, common in vegetative patients. But I was fighting back. October 14th morning. Emma visited alone. She was nervous about tomorrow's hearing. What if someone objects? She wondered aloud. What if Dad documented something? She went through my phone again, deleted emails, cleared messages. Can't be too careful, she muttered. Then she said something that gave me strength. At least, after tomorrow, we won't have to pretend to love you anymore. That afternoon, I opened my eyes, fully, clearly. The nurse, Maria, dropped her clipboard. Mr. Brennan. Oh my God. She ran for doctors, real doctors, not Webb. Within minutes, the room filled with amazed medical staff. I couldn't speak yet, but I could see, could move my head, could smile at the horror dawning on my children's faces when they were called. They arrived expecting to find me dead. Instead, I was conscious, alert, furious. Dad, Emma gasped, fake tears flowing. It's a miracle. Michael grabbed my hand. We've been praying for this. David actually crossed himself. The performance was Oscar-worthy, but I just stared at them. Let them see in my eyes that I knew. Everything. Chapter 10. The Recorder. By evening, I could move my arms slightly. Dr. Chun had been recalled immediately when news of my awakening spread. She ran cognitive tests. I passed them all. Brain fully functional. Memory intact. The medical mystery of the year. He was locked in, she explained to colleagues. Aware but unable to communicate. It's rare but documented. My children huddled in the hallway, panicking. How much does he remember? Emma worried. Maybe nothing. Coma patients often have amnesia, Michael hoped. But David was realistic. Did you see his eyes? He knows. They debated fleeing, destroying evidence, claiming mental impairment. But it was too late. October 15th, the day of my scheduled death, became my resurrection. Speech therapy helped me form words. First word, lawyer. Second, police. My children tried to intervene. He's confused, they told staff. The trauma has affected his mind. But I was clear. Get my lawyer now. Each word was a nail in their coffin. James Morrison, my personal attorney for 20 years, arrived within hours. I couldn't speak fluently yet, but I could write. Shaky, but legible. They planned to kill me. Check security footage. Cloud server Alpha 7 to 7. His face went white as he read. He knew that server. It contained everything. Every crime they'd committed while I lay listening. Chapter 11. The evidence. Footage was damning. Hours of my children planning my death, forging documents, selling my assets. Audio of them admitting the brake failure was convenient. Video of signatures being forged. Financial records showing millions already transferred. The FBI was called. Federal crimes had been committed. Wire fraud, forgery, conspiracy. My children were arrested at the hospital. They'd come for what they thought would be a family meeting about my confusion. Instead, federal agents waited. The disbelief on their faces was priceless. Dad, you don't understand, Michael pleaded as they cuffed him. We did this for the family. Emma screamed about mental illness, demanded lawyers. David said nothing, just stared at me with pure hatred. The investigation revealed everything. The embezzlement went back years. The gambling debts were to organized crime. The divorce threats were blackmail. They'd been bleeding me slowly, but my refusal to retire accelerated their timeline. The accident was genuinely accidental, but they'd been researching how to cause one. My near-death saved me from actual death. Recovery took months. Physical therapy, speech therapy, psychological counseling. Learning to walk again. Learning to trust again. The hardest part was accepting my children were strangers. The kids I'd raised, loved, provided for, they were gone. Maybe they never existed. These were predators who saw me as a wallet with a pulse. Chapter 12. Justice and Reflection. The trials were swift. Federal charges don't allow for much wiggle room when evidence is overwhelming. Michael got 25 years for wire fraud and conspiracy. Emma got 20 years for forgery and elder abuse. David got 15 years for embezzlement. They'd lose everything. The stolen money was recovered, their trust funds revoked, their positions terminated. From millionaires to prisoners in 6 months. I restructured everything. The company went to a blind trust with professional management. My wealth would go to charity upon my death. Medical research, specifically locked-in syndrome awareness. My children would get nothing. They'd already taken their inheritance in prison sentences. The grandchildren would receive education funds, but controlled by trustees until age 30. I live alone now in a smaller house. The mansion held too many poisoned memories. I have nurses, security, people who are paid to care. It's honest, at least. They pretend nothing. I pay, they assist. No false love, no hidden agendas. Just business. It's lonely but safer than family. Dr. Chan visits monthly. She's studying my case, writing papers on consciousness during coma. You've changed neurology, she says. Proved that apparent brain death isn't always death. I'm glad some good came from this. Maybe other families will test more, wait longer, hope harder. Maybe other patients will get the chance I almost lost. My name is Richard Brennan. I built an empire and raised 3 children. The empire survived. The children became criminals. While I lay in a coma, unable to move or speak but fully aware, they revealed their true nature. They planned my funeral while I listened, divided my fortune while I memorized their crimes, celebrated my death while I fought to live. The accident that should have killed me saved me. Not from death, from illusion. I'd spent decades believing my children loved me. The coma stripped that fantasy away. They loved my money, my power, my mortality. When I became vulnerable, they became vultures. The machines kept my body alive, but their betrayal killed my spirit. To those reading this, love your children, but verify their love. Create safeguards. Document everything. Install cameras. Trust, but prepare for betrayal. Because the people who can hurt you most are those closest to you. They know your weaknesses, your passwords, your routines. They know exactly how to destroy. You. My children thought I was already gone. They were right about one thing. The father they knew died in that hospital bed. What woke up was a stranger who'd learned the hardest truth. Sometimes the monsters aren't under the bed. Sometimes they're standing beside it, holding your hand, waiting for you to stop breathing. But I didn't stop. I listened. I remembered. I survived. And now they're gone, and I'm alone but alive. The machines saved my life. Their greed saved me from them. And somewhere in federal prison, 3 children are learning what it really means to be locked in.